With iDrinkCoffee.com. Today I'm going to be presenting the Aeropress coffee brewer. The Aeropress is a great way to brew coffee. It's inexpensive, it's fast, it's easy, and it produces a wonderful tasting cup of coffee. Alongside the Aeropress, I'm going to be using my favorite kettle, the Bonavita variable heat kettle. Has a gooseneck spout which allows for precision pouring, does a wonderful job. I'm going to be using the Baratza Vario W grinder, which is a weight-based grinder, also wonderful for all pour-over methods. And finally, I'm not going to be using a paper filter, but I'm going to be using the Able Aeropress filter. Now this is the fine version. It comes in two different versions, the standard and the fine. The fine tends to bring out more complexity and more acidity, whereas the standard filter brings out a little bit more sweetness. I want complexity, and I love big bright coffees, so I'm going to be using the fine. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put my filter into the holder here and screw it onto the bottom of the Aeropress. Like that. I'm going to actually put the Aeropress right on my cup right away, and I'll add my coffee. Now I'm adding about 18 grams of coffee, and the grind that I'm using is a little bit finer than you would use for a drip brewer, but a little less fine than for espresso. My kettle's ready. It's at 92 degrees Celsius, and now I'm going to pour, and I'm just going to pour the water up until it's just above the number 2 there. Now, if you're using the scoop and not a weight-based grinder, like I am, you want to put about 2 scoops. And I'm just going to pour that much water in there. Now I'm going to take off the funnel, and using the spoon, the stirrer that comes with the Aeropress, I'm just going to give this a nice stir. You stir for about 10 seconds or so. And I'll put that aside, and I'm ready to begin plunging. Now with the Aeropress, the plunging takes about 30 seconds, and you do have to be quite firm. So as I attach this, I'm just going to support it there, and I'm going to begin my plunge. And what's happening inside, there's the air is forcing the water through the coffee, almost like an espresso, because the pressure is quite high. I mean, I am pressing here quite firmly. And now it's just air, and it'll be easier towards the bottom once the water's through. Now I'm just pushing through the air. And that's it. That's how you brew coffee using an Aeropress. Now, the drink that results here is very concentrated. It's quite strong. You can drink it as it is, but more commonly people add water to taste. So what I typically do for a glass like this, I'll add about the same amount of water as I have coffee. So I'm going to add about 50% coffee. I'll have 50% coffee, 50% water. So I'm going to show you one more thing. If you'd like to make 2 cups of coffee with the Aeropress, you can do that as well. For the 2 cups I'm going to demonstrate, I'm going to use a Tiamo server so I can pour from that later on. And again, all I've done is I'm doubling the amount of coffee that I'm using, so instead of 18 grams I now have 36 grams. And I'm just going to add that into my press like so. Using the funnel makes it a little bit easier, makes it neater. And I'm going to add twice as much water. So instead of bringing the water up to 2, I'm going to bring it all the way up to 4. So again, I'm just pouring my water in, and I'm just adding more water this time. So the process is exactly the same. I'm going to stir again. Again, bring it down all the way to the bottom to agitate those grinds, get them off the bottom of the filter. And plunge. If you find that the plunge is too difficult, or you have to be too firm, then what I suggest is coarsening up the coffee just a little bit, but I'll get this through. This is a lot of coffee, so. There we go. Now I'm also going to add water to this, just like previously. Again, I'd start from around half coffee, half water, but that's also to taste. If you like your coffee a little bit stronger, obviously you put less water. If you like your coffee a little bit weaker, then you would put more. Now all that's left is to serve the coffee. So I'm just going to take my server and pour it into these two lovely Bodum Pavina glasses. One for my friend behind the camera and one for myself. The Aeropress yields a wonderful cup, nice and clean, and it's very, very fast. It's a very, very fast way of making coffee if you're busy in the morning. If you have any questions about the Aeropress or about any of our products, please feel free to contact either myself or one of my colleagues. We'll be more than happy to help. Here's to good times and good brews.